Hey, here's a little disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the MAWP organization. And there are some themes and subject matter that may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is advised. Get all situated here, ready for the day of show. The show.
I think your power came unplugged.
Well, it wasn't plugged in.
Oh.
It's just kind of queued up in case I need it. I should have it better queued up, but not queued up enough.
Gotcha.
Speaking of not plugged in, we were doing a show last week. You and me, and Petey, normal. We were out on the lake, Spanaway Lake. It's a beautiful scenic location. And we were getting towards the end of our show, the last segment, and Pete did a performance. It was our first live in studio, out of studio because we weren't in the studios, but it was the first live MAWPCAST performance.
Yep.
Petey. And his guitar wasn't plugged in.
It wasn't plugged in the whole time?
Wasn't plugged in. It was plugged in initially because in going back and listening to the in between time while the songs were playing and he was warming up and jamming a little bit, all that was working. But then he sat his guitar down, and then when he picked his guitar up to go and do "Help," the song, his guitar was not.
Well, yeah, he had to plug it in to because they want to drain the battery.
It wasn't on.
Oh, and then he didn't plug it back in.
Maybe the battery died.
Okay.
So
did it pick it up in the?
And it did. Yes.
It did. Was it enough?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
all right.
I didn't know how anyone would feel about it, the audio quality, so I tacked it on at the end because there was also a another result of this was that the fourth segment of our show also did not get recorded.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Well, what I think that is I think his guitar may have not been plugged in all the way, or it may have been plugged in and his volume was down. But when he unplugged it, you know how like if you unplug a vocal mic, it makes that popping sound?
Yeah.
Well, I think that shut the thing off because it was perfect up to that point.
Yep. Yep.
And it has worked perfect ever since. I mean, I've had zero issues ever since. So I'm assuming that's what it is. And I've never done that before. I've never actually tried to do something like that.
It was a good test.
Yeah.
It worked.
Well, I'm just glad that it didn't erase everything.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I turn stuff if the battery dies, so to speak, everything is gone.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
So there was enough material in the show with the first 3 segments that I just sliced it up into 4 segments, and then I tacked on that song at the end of the show as just a bonus because I wasn't sure how anyone would feel about it, the recording quality of it. And he's welcome to come back and do it anytime.
Oh yeah, yeah, we've already discussed it. We're gonna do it again and stuff. And I thought that it would have been better if it was in a closed environment anyways to do something like that.
Outdoors can sound great, and I liked it, actually. I liked it a lot, with the kids playing in the background and the birds, and it was
cool. I did need to put the windscreen on it, though. I did notice that I was hearing some wisping and stuff, the wind a little bit.
I mixed it poorly, too. I had a couple different goes at trying to mix it, and it wasn't that it was a problem. It was just I was a little busy and distracted most last week, so... it wasn't my best job at mixing the audio vocals, but whatever. It's a show. It's done now. That show's gone. It's done. It's over. Before that, there was a show before that. Remember the show before that where we didn't record, and then we came back and recorded. Well, you want to know what else happened with that?
Oh, what? Something happened with that?
Yeah, me. I went to process the video. I edited the video all together, and then I processed the video, and then I uploaded the video to YouTube, and then I went about my life. And then this week after I uploaded the video of this last week, episode 40 whatever one, after I uploaded 41, I noticed the video was an hour and 30 minutes. why is the video an hour 30 minutes? Did something go wrong in the upload? And then I went back and I checked, and no, something went wrong in my editing process and processing, because I ended up with a video that was only an hour and 30 minutes, and it's only got like 2/3 of the show on it. So that video, it's got a third of the show missing for whatever reason.
Oh, wow.
No idea why. What went wrong in that process? It's me somewhere. I did something wrong, but I don't exactly know what or where. And I may not have the component parts anymore to reconstruct it. So I don't know.
Oh, you don't think you may have deleted the video?
Because I trashed this. I'm building up such a backlog of just the videos, which I feel like I do need to keep, because sometimes YouTube takes a video away for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now they'll put them back sometimes too, so I don't get too finicky about it. But if I ever want those videos for my own self, and so maybe the Russians bomb YouTube and there's no YouTube anymore, then what? Chris? Then I have to upload all my videos to the new service that they create in place of the YouTube that got bombed by the Russians.
So we just can your computer burn?
Yeah. I could put them on hard disks, and then file them on
disks.
But again, this is all just cumulative stuff. It just builds up and builds up.
Yeah,
I got an RV full of stuff and a room full of stuff, and I got all this stuff, and people want to say, "Fuck, don't all your stuff."
Oh, I already know. I know.
Goodbye, gray sky, hello, blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. It feels so right, it can't be wrong. Rocking and rolling all week long. These days are all.
Trying to get rid of everything right now. Every single little thing, except for the clothes on my bag. That's all I need. And the computer. And this coffee cup. And this bomb. Maybe the microphone.
This headphone.
Yeah. And this Jesus blanket behind me. That's all I need.
And this chair.
Yeah.
Gotta have this chair.
That lamp.
That lamp. Oh, yeah. Gotta have the lamp. Yep. And the camera. Gotta have that camera.
Can't do a show without the camera.
I know.
I mean, it would
the
do
cabling.
the audio.
Gotta have the cabling. Got the little black box down there for the headphones.
That's all.
And that's it. But that's it.
Maybe something to eat later.
Yeah.
And
the recorder and the stand for the recorder. Yeah. But that's it. That's it. Oh, maybe some batteries for the stuff, just in case, backups and stuff like that.
If that solar shit was all functioning, we wouldn't need that.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Thanks, Chris. This is a show. It's a show that we do on a mostly weekly basis. I had a hole in my pants. My testicles hanging out. Can't have that on camera. Sorry. I didn't realize that was going on until a cold jar was resting on my testicles. Like, wow.
That's cold.
That's sensation. So, this is the show. This is the Adventures of the MAWPCAST 1 radio program. Sure, I'm going to do the Star Trek intro. We're your hosts. I am Potter, and this is Soundman Chris. We come here every week on our 1 week mission to bring you songs, one song at a time. We support local music. Okay, it's got to stop. This is why I don't have background music, actually.
Oh, that's good, because I don't have the tone to do that. I forgot how it went.
Sometimes I'll start listening to videos with the background music going, and I'm like, fuck, dude, you gotta stop with this fucking music. I can't hang. Like, if they could just calm down and not have the distracting music, just give me some information, just calmly deliver the information as calmly as possible. Because I know sometimes you get excited. I get excited, but then I have a bong hit. I calm down. Then I drink a little coffee and I get more excited again. And then I have a bong hit and I calm down.
I got my donut lighter.
Donut lighter?
Yep.
It's theme.
Yep. Donut theme. Saw a really cool movie. It was actually a movie that I normally wouldn't watch.
Sometimes those are great.
Okay, so the guy is Steve Carell.
Uh-huh.
He's like on Was he like on The Office or something like that,
Yes.
or something like that?
You're correct, sir.
All right. Well, it's a show where he makes all these models, these little tiny figures, and it's about Nazis and stuff. And he's one of the characters.
Timely.
Yeah, he's one of the characters in it and stuff. And but what it is initially is that he was an artist, and he enjoyed wearing women's shoes every once in a while, apparently. Well, he was at a bar and he was drunk, and he wasn't wearing women's shoes, but he was at a bar and he was drunk, and he happened to mention it, and some neo-Nazis were there, and they beat him up so bad that he had zero memory. For he remembers from the day he woke up forward, but nothing backwards, and he can remember stuff, but he couldn't remember anything of his past at all whatsoever.
You didn't remember that he liked to wear women's shoes?
Oh, he figured that out. He was slowly kind of gathering stuff, but a lot of his past just wasn't there and stuff. And he's going through like a court battle and stuff, and it's like him going through the emotional turmoil of all of it through taking pictures of these action figures going through these scenes, like it's like little Nazi scenes where these women would protect this town from these Nazis and stuff, and he was the good guy that would go in and stuff, and it was very odd but very cool at the same time. And I think it was, God, what was it called? Oh, I can't remember but it's two names put together. And it was the girl that came out of the bar after he got beat up. A girl came out of the bar, and she was the first person to be there for him. And that's his first memory was her. And then his name.
I see.
Yeah, so
This
it's
is a newer movie?
probably within the next couple of years.
There's those glasses of mine. Yeah? So,
Fourth one over Marwen.
Marwen.
That's it.
Welcome to Marwen,
Yes.
2018. Steve Carell.
Yes. That was a great movie.
He was really good in The Office, and sometimes very annoying.
Oh, yeah.
But that is what he was
That
trying
was his
to
character,
achieve.
yeah.
But like if you go back to the Daily Show, when he was on the Daily Show, oh my God, him and Colbert. They had a bit on the early Daily Show in the immediate wake of Jon Stewart taking over, and it was Steven versus Steven, and they would just argue. They would just they would take any debate, and they'd just, you take this side, I'll take this side. No, I want that side. Okay, so we'll argue about it, and there was then the debate. And then they would debate. Great, they were great bits. I just remember them as being great. They were amazing segments of comedy. So that was he was really impressed upon me as being just stellar at that point.
Oh.
And he's had other moments, like the 40-Year-Old Virgin was a pretty good movie. I saw another one with him, Where the World's Ending, and that was a nice one too. It's kind of an independent film. That's probably on here too.
Well,
but yeah, I'm not like I'm not like super into a bunch of things. I just don't go out and aggressively watch a bunch of stuff. I could watch things. I don't care. Like I'm kind of. I'll catch up on some things later. Oh, he was good in Little Miss Sunshine too. That was a good one.
oh yeah, that was a great one.
Oh, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, 2012. I thought that was good. See, I see things sometimes.
I know.
I've been seeing things. I've been watching this Ken Burns Baseball and Flight of the Conchords on the Amazon Prime thing. They also got Avengers to buy, but the fuck if I'm going to buy that, especially if I'm going to start to try out that Disney streaming service. And I've already determined that I'm going to try out the Disney streaming service for like 3 to 6 months, and I'll be done. I'll have exhausted everything. I'll have watched everything that I ever want to watch, and won't need to watch most things for another 10 years.
Yep.
And that's worthwhile. Mm-hmm. That'll be fine for me. Like, maybe I can get on with my life. I'm like super stoked that I've not seen the Avengers yet, because someone mentioned this on the line the other day on the Facebook.
What,
thing.
the very newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Someone else just said, "Oh, we just watched it. We just, bought it on Amazon." That's how I knew it was on Amazon. And then I went and looked, and I thought momentarily, but I was like, "No, why would I do that?" But we're not the only ones. Like, and that amazes me, because there's other people that have not seen that movie. Even still, do you know all the details yet? Do you know everything that happened? Mm-mm. You don't, huh?
No, I've actually been I've been purposely sheltering myself from it. If I see anything, I go past it purposely. If somebody tries to talk about it, I go, ah.
I'm still not going to spoil it for you. Yeah. I want to, just for fun, but it wouldn't be fun. But more than, let me correct myself. I don't want to spoil it for you. I want to make fun of other things, other aspects of it, all the things that I like. I basically kind of criticize about it, like, because it's not that there's necessarily plot holes or problems, but man, things are problematic.
Oh yeah. I already figured that there would be. Well, as soon as the last one came out, I knew that if they tried to bring anybody back, it's going to be freaking kind of expected. Okay, you're doing something that everybody's like going, oh, okay, so it really makes nothing really believable anymore, in a sense.
And I'll just say I'm thankful for it. Let me go. Stop being so compelling and grasping my interest. Let me move on with life. It's fine if I don't, and then maybe someday, I will catch up with the next 20 movies. I mean, if I get the Disney streaming service, I'll see what I've missed up to this point.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to follow all the series. They've already got 3 to 10, 70 billion series planned. I'm not going to follow these all, even if they're miniseries. I'm just not. I will watch things or listen to things, but I don't consume a lot of just media the way that people do. I definitely don't have to see it when it happens. And the whole, I've been not buying into that for a long time, though. It's just not worth it. Like The Sopranos or Lost or one of those things. Yeah. Like my weekly life has never been able to been dictated by shows or stuff like that. I've just never had that luxury. Especially in the 90s when I would have aggressively done that, I was playing shows every week, like all the time. And I didn't have a TV a lot of that time. So sometimes I'm too close to the mic and I'm in my own head. I don't like it. I do like some stories in entertainment, but also I try to moderate everything. Because I could just do nothing but. I've had stretches of time where I've just been immersed in media or things like that. It's like, oh, I can watch this, until the point where I'm exhausted and I'll just watch whatever's on. And those are fine states, and sometimes they're necessary. Like if you're trying to recover or heal from some kind of thing, you're just wanting to lay around and veg out. If you just got a hangover sometimes, just fucking sit and just like, or, on a weekend watch some sports. There's nothing wrong with any of these things, but like I can get into a habit of things, and I want to have like relatively good, healthy habit routines. Part of the reason why I do this show is it creates a healthy routine throughout my entire week of activity, things to do, from the pre-production of collecting songs and arranging songs and seeing things that sit together and fit together and that sound nice or that I haven't listened to that make me excited, because in every 3 to 5 week period I also get tired and like, oh, it's exhausting, I need something to stimulate me. But then I go out and find this different great music. I'm like, oh wow, that's great. And then acquire things that I've been looking for a long time, and I'm even more excited. But see, there's all that pre-production that goes into the stuff, and then there's the doing the show that we do on the Monday, which sets the tone for the week. And then there's sometimes the doing the show again on Tuesday, because sometimes that happens. There's the editing of the audio, and then the compiling of the edited audio and the video, and then the editing of the video and the compiling of that, and then the processing of the thing, and uploading it to the internet, and then the putting it through different social media outlets when I can, how I can, and all this thing just gives me a routine, like a job, which is nice, and it gives healthy activity that you can just, and this is like, so what are my point, Chris?
Keeps your brain sharp.
There's that. Is that my point?
I don't know. I think your point was that, now would be a great time to listen to some music.
Well, I was getting to that. I was going to try and segue into that also naturally, but I was like, are we ready for songs yet? So I was trying to drag it out a little bit, and then I was like, sometimes doing a show is difficult. But it is a good time to segue into music. It is.
It is. It's a fantastic time, I believe.
We're going to start the day off with let's see. Something funky. That's what I'm feeling like.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. If only this would move, this thing.
Everything I do gonna be funky.
I keep it funky. I like my women chunky. Just so I can still get to the monkey.
Yeah, I'm on my outcast, so fresh and clean with my team. That feel good music, you haters vibe can't intervene.
This how I met your mother, we on some trouble like Barney Rubble. Trouble me, love you, long time ride me so horny.
Where's the waitress at with my drink, man? I'm Flo, table 2, Flo.
I've been here for 2 goddamn minutes.
Hey, yo, she ain't getting no tip, I'm telling you, she gonna come around and look for one.
Hey, Wall, you just spilled the salt on a road trip tour.
I know.
Greg, throw some salt over your left shoulder.
Seabass, kick his ass. I'm off the whiskey, then I get up and risky, feeling crispy. Maintain no weapon form against
Oh yeah, I'm tipsy, I'm on my hustle nipsy. She whispered in my ear, I'm off the molly, come and dig me.
I don't eat bricks cause they little edible frisbees. I suggest popcorn and Tabasco for Netflix and we chillin' spicy.
Yeah, that's old school, man. Who ain't put Tabasco on their popcorn?
Hey yo, Greg, that's some poetic injustice.
I don't even look like that.
This is pre-microwave days, y'all. I'm talking about stove top, Jiffy Pop.
You look the same, you look like the same. You chillin' shit now.
Hey, 2.5 minutes, I can at least go for 3, baby.
Since we're together, let's think of something clever wherever. Oh shit, we're mixing business with pleasure.
Yeah, when women give up money, I call them cheddar bunnies. Right now I'm setting up a account called AWOL Going Funny.
Now she looking dumb and dumber, cross-legged on the house. Your auntie Ann's daughter looking funny with couch dick in her mouth.
Anyway, I still gotta get paid. I'm throwing shade like Beyonce with lemonade.
Say, my gear is laid, feeling like Prince when I stroll through in a little red carpet, the same color as Wazoo.
Sorry, we acting a fool on volume 3. 3 trees planted, I can't even finish, god damn it. Lemonade for a quarter on porter.
Hey man, that's good price shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, say that, dude. You know what I mean? Look at good horse in the mouth.
I'll take 4 of them, please.
I got a couple gifts for that horse's mouth.
Everything I do gon' be funky from now on. Yeah. Everything I do gon' be funky. You know. Please ask for the check, man.
Funky.
I'm doing like I do back in the day. I'm sneaking out.
Everything I do.
Check,
gonna
check,
be
please.
funky.
Check.
Gonna be funky, be
From
funky.
now on.
Oh, check, please, man. Check.
Hey,
I'm out.
yeah, man. I ain't even pay.
This shit make me want to get butt naked and do the twist like Chubby Checker.
Robert Parker, barefoot, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Parker, Miss Parker.
see me, darling, not today. You said you love me, girl, and why'd you leave? You said you love me, it was make believe, so said you want yours, but I gotta say this. You can have me, darling, you ain't taking my soul. Now baby, run, yeah, run away. You ain't gonna see me, darling, not today. You try to break me down above my knees. I'm begging you, oh baby, baby, please.
I'm coming back from a set of songs. An incredible set of songs. You just heard the Blind Guides. Sideways. And no, not Blind Guys, Chris. Blind Guides.
Blind
Put your headphones
Guides.
on. Guides. Trying to do a bit here. We also heard Ain't Taking My Soul by Paris Spleen. We heard Graham by Argonaut. And we heard Gonna Be Funky by Volume 3. Starting us all off today. Setting the tone. I put crickets there. I got some. I can cue them up, but this thing takes so long sometimes. That's why we need a guy. We need a third guy.
Or another computer with the... I'll bring in one of my computers with the...
I'm telling you, I've seen this happen before. Like on these shows, they'll say that, but then no. That guy will say, "Dude, you're right. We need a third guy." And then they'll bring in the third guy, and the third guy will sit over there for a while, and he'll do the things, and they're like, "You know what? You just come over here. Just fucking come over here. Get in here too." And then this guy will start and he'll like...
We need a fourth guy.
We'll see, because it'll create that awkward dynamic where the guy's trying to do the sound stuff, and he's like, "Dude, we're talking to you." And he's like, "Yeah, but you wanted me to do the sound stuff. That's why I got here in the first place." And it's like,
yeah, point there.
this is the cycle of life. It's just a vicious cycle. Because some of these guys also, they don't want to be the entertainment. You know, you just came in here to help me fix the sound one day. And the next thing you know, you're doing the show. You're the host now. That's how it works.
You're right. How did I get suckered into this?
Yep. After having PD in last week, I was thinking, wow, you and PD could just take over this show. That'd be great. And I can just take a back seat, and I can be the producer. I can just, it's just, I do and don't, because sometimes I want to, like, take a month or two off. Now, a friend of mine pointed out to me, we take any amount of time off.
Uh-huh.
Like, and just come back at any given time. Like, we don't need to be so formal and locked in, which is like, that was a great point. Like, we could take 3 months off, a hiatus.
But then people might lose interest.
There's that too. And also, I like doing it. And
gives me something to do. So I'm just like...
And other people could come in and still host it too. I'm not actually opposed to that. I do have some, I guess, agency involved in it now, territoriality about it, because I've been doing it, and it is the thing I want, and I'm also comfortable doing it. So,
and you got nothing better going on either.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Well, yeah.
But also having this isn't a bad thing to work around. It's like, it's not. There are worse things to work around. Yeah, so it's a joy. All in all, I'm not complaining.
It's productive.
I don't know if you've noticed it, because I only noticed like in the last 2 days or so. There's a park show happening this next weekend on Saturday.
A what?
A park show.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. And I don't know who's involved in it. I'm stoked that someone is taking this initiative and doing it, because that's exactly what needed to happen. They could advertise better. They could advertise better. Because I just now found out about this thing that's happening in 5 days or something. And I'm like, wow. But that's cool that they're doing it. So
yes,
I support that in wholeheartedly. That's exactly the thing, because, you know, there wasn't that support. That's why it stopped. That's why we stopped doing it. That support wasn't there. So that's the thing that needs to happen. Let them keep doing it and make it a successful thing. And we can move on to bigger and better things. Because, fuck, that shit's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work for one day, you know. And it's a thankless thing that everyone involved walks away with with feeling a great sense of accomplishment, but it's like, well, I don't know. Do your thing. I support it.
Yeah, I noticed it was worded different though. It wasn't like MAWP.
No, it's something that is supposedly in the spirit of MAWP, which is great because we're getting a lot of great advertisement out of that. If nothing else,
I like it.
It's not like there's much more. No publicity is bad publicity.
Oh yeah, I agree. Crickets again, right here.
Yep.
I'm just listening to that white noise going.
Yeah, where is that from? Because I'm not used to that.
It's the microphone.
Yeah,
it's the room mic.
Why is that room mic so hot?
It's
never that hot before.
Because it is still, it's like.
Yeah, it's the room mic.
Yeah, it's just.
You just said so.
It's a little hot.
I didn't mean to make you get up. This is the downside of that.
Okay,
That's
so
already it's a little better.
All right, there we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's still there. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, I was noticing it earlier too, but I didn't want to say anything because sometimes I don't have my headphones on. I don't always know what's going on.
My headphones are hotter. Normal.
Mine are a little too, but well, they're okay. Mine are okay right now.
See, right.
Yeah.
That's where it's away.
Yeah.
But I'd have to be this close to here. I don't know if
the room mic's less important anyway.
Here, hello.
And I boost the volume of it enough to watch out for that cord.
Oh shit.
Yeah. How did that get so long? That was never that long before.
Oh yeah.
Look at them. They're all that long.
How did that happen? Somebody did this. And it wasn't me.
Well, that's too short. You're never going to be able to work with that short.
No.
Okay, I didn't even know it worked like that.
Yeah,
it's like telescoping.
Yeah, yours does that too.
Well, I don't want to know. I'm fine with it just the way it is. I don't need it to be anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
It's in a great spot for me. This is why I'm always like why my shit is fucking dialed in unless I moved it away. But like when I'm going to edit my audio, like I don't have to do anything. And last week I did too much. I think I turned it up too loud. But most of the time my mic's right here because I don't move. I'm like a stone. I'm professional. Sometimes I'll also move the mic stand, which can create a squeak and stuff like that. But more or less.
When you do this, it squeaks.
Yeah.
Yours squeaks for some reason.
Yeah. I try not to do that. Unless it's to adjust it. This is a boring part of the show where we talk about squeaking mic stands.
We do. Every once in a while that happens, though.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I still got to get up and plug it in because I haven't prepared.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know where that part is. I don't see it.
Entertain the people while I do this thing.
I will juggle these broken glass bottles. All right. There we go. All right. Computer's happy. Yay, happy computer. All right. Had a Judas Priest tribute band this weekend and a Black Sabbath tribute band.
Was it Cat Sabbath?
No.
Oh. That's actually probably not a real thing. It's just a meme I saw this weekend. Black Sabbath tribute. Were they good? Luke's Wall. Was it Luke's Wall?
No.
They were Black Sabbath tribute.
I can't remember what the names of them were.
I
mean, they were all right. I like the Judas Priest one better, but I am more partial to Judas Priest anyways.
Yeah.
And but yeah. So yeah.
I want to say I'm more partial to Sabbath because that's at my core where my allegiance lies. But I do love me some Judas Priest, you know.
Oh.
I didn't ever get to see Sabbath. I saw Ozzy. I did see Judas Priest. And they were raging. Just fucking raging right here at the Tacoma Dome 1985. And I don't think that they've ever not raged. That band is just
They've always been good.
on fucking fire. Yeah.
I've never seen them bad.
Yep. Saw them here at the Tacoma Dome in 1985. There's a famous short documentary called Heavy Metal Parking Lot. And that Heavy Metal Parking Lot is filmed on the Judas Priest tour, Judas Priest and Dokken in the 84, 85, I think, era. When they were supporting, I don't know what Dokken had out. Their big album at the time, though. And
Probably Under Lock and Key.
Yeah, it's the one with It's Not Love on it. So it might have been the next one. Under Lock and Key was the first one. But Judas Priest was supporting Turbo, which wasn't their best album. But they were still great. And
I was at that concert.
Yeah, that was the one where that dude got stabbed, and there was a big backlash against the heavy metal in the mid '80s, and like, oh look, what our kids are subjected to. Yeah, well, that sucked. It did suck. But I was, 13 something, just 14, something in that range, just fucking having a great time. It was just great. I didn't know someone was getting stabbed. Yeah, if you ever get a chance out there in the world to see Heavy Metal Parking Lot, that's a great snapshot of what it was like right here outside the Tacoma Dome, because it was just like that. Bunch of butt rockers being super cool. Now, Judas Priest probably edges out most of these old butt rock bands for me. The heavy metal of that era. Liked them far more than Iron Maiden and a lot of the others. Scorpions, I really like the Scorpions.
I've seen them like 4 times,
yeah.
I think.
Now,
and they're always great too.
It's
But it seems that the later on they went, the more the crowd sang the songs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Klaus was losing his chops kind of in the 90s as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Mic up closer to you.
Oh.
Thanks. This is part of the reason why because you just do that. For some reason in the middle of a show you decide, I don't need the mic. It's not even important. And neither of us often notice. So I'm going to tell you if I see it far away from you, because I don't know what you're thinking. It's like, you're doing a show, Chris.
I don't know what I was thinking either. I'm just saying.
So yeah, like Scorpions make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just that. If we're just distilling it down to its essence, the Scorpions make me happy. Like Judas Priest, no, that's rocking and it's raging and it's good, but it's like a little angry and aggressive sometimes where Scorpions aren't. Scorpions are just happy. They just want to get laid. They're just having a feel good time. We're going to drink a lot of booze, maybe snort a little cocaine, and just woo! Ozzy, he was close to Scorpions, but he would get a little dark sometimes, go into a shell, get a little too drunk, and
bite heads off.
Yeah, want to get crazy. Yeah.
Snort lines of ants.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved Ozzy growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I was like fucking, that was my guy. But it was like, I remember in 7th grade when Bark at the Moon was out, and I was out there in Ording with some friends of mine, and Love It for Sting was also out, and so was some other stuff. And my, I was a big advocate for things. I've always been a big advocate for things. And I've also been impressionable. Like, you can sell me, you can win me over. Like, you can appeal to my logic and sense of things. So I had such allegiance to Ozzy that I was kind of blind that Bark at the Moon was a little weak. You know, it wasn't as good of a record.
Yeah.
It took me a while, but it was like a friend of mine, my buddy Clint in 7th grade, who's like, you know, Love at First Sting's a better record. And I was like, well, how dare you? What the fuck are you talking about? He's like, no, man, you gotta see that. Like, because he's like, you just basically in his 7th grade, you know, language says you just got to look at this objectively, and this is a better record. It's got better songs that are executed better. And of course, it wasn't, you know, so like articulate of a campaign that he was giving me, but he was right. He was right, nonetheless. He's like, go and listen to them both, man. Listen to them both, back to back, and you come back and tell me that this isn't the better record. It's better. Like, it's just, and it was like just in terms of talent or execution or whatever, the songwriting, the structure, the layout of the record, the artistry of the record. Ozzy was giving us like a B movie, like, you know, a Frankenstein kind of like thing, and the Scorpions were giving us like Predator. Terminator, you know, something like that.
Not Freddie though. Freddie's too much.
Freddie's back down there with the Ozzy stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's even a little below Ozzy. So I would say that Predator's more like, or that Nightmare on Elm Street would be more like Dawkins, but not necessarily Dawkins, but at that level, Y&T or something. Yeah.
Well, Dawkins definitely a Nightmare on Elm Street level.
I guess exactly right. You're right, exactly. That's exactly the level they are. Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Now, if they're at Jason level, that'd be something.
Jason is a little above. If you really going, if we're talking prestige, so yeah, it's a notch above at least Elm Street. Yeah. No Halloween, but Halloween kind of jumped the shark too.
Yeah, they kind of. I think Halloween like went too far. They kept going and going.
Well, and that's the thing that every franchise does. Every franchise eventually goes to space.
Tries to milk. Jason X.
And it's funny because I wasn't even thinking that did, but it did, huh?
It did go to space.
Because, like, you know, James Bond eventually went to space, you know, and just
Moonraker.
like that is like the jumping the shark of our modern times. I was going to check the time. Speaking of times, segue right back into songs. I think is the good time. Is that right?
All right.
That's right.
All right.
I think that's how professionals do it.
That's how they do it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we're going to hear, Chris?
What are we gonna hear?
You have any idea?
I have no idea.
You want me to tell you?
That'd be awesome.
Dude, it's Sin Circus.
Really?
I wouldn't lie to you.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
Until you've had a taste of the frozen iron and the cold fear.
find another way. yeah. Ooh. Smoke on the dope.
I smoke on the dope.
I'm smoking.
I smoke on the dope.
I'm smoking.
I smoke on the dope.
I'm smoking.
Hey, roll up the dope.
Roll up the dope.
Smoke up the dope.
Smoke up the dope.
Smoke on the dope.
Smoke on the dope.
Smoke on the dope. I got the dope. And you got the dope. Roll up the dope.
Roll it.
Smoke on the dope.
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 Smoke on the dope. Yeah.
Maybe I'm tripping. I tell you that she ain't my partner. If you wear them ugly ass shoes, Balenciaga, or the skinny jeans with the rip in it. I know them Suwoop niggas and them Crips with it. What about the Native Americans and the Samoans? I don't even give a fuck about the weed you growing. I'm smoking Giggle Bush, I'm smoking Super Dave. I seen your baby mama pussy and it need a shave. Black heads on it, ask my nigga Mac Drees. Yeah, Turp God, and I'm smoking that grease. Turp diamonds, all over the blunt. I seen your baby mama, nigga, all over the cunt. And that's the bitch I want. Fuck around and get jumped. We here for a good time, my nigga fist bump. Fuck it, let me buy you a drink and sit and talk about the bitches we fuck, the whose pussy is
Smoke on the
pink.
dope.
You feel me?
Smoke on the dope.
Smoke on the dope.
Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Hey, roll up the dope. Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. I got the dope.
I got the dope.
And you got the dope.
You got the dope.
Roll up the dope.
Roll up the dope.
Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope.
Yeah.
Smoke on the dope. I got the sweet. If you got the dope, I'm in the trees. I'm with my peas. Looking for hoes. Mary Jane in my smoke. Back in the bag of my coat. I got the kush too. You ain't really down with the dope, bro. You don't smoke like you used to. Remember when shit was illegal? You was still smoking the diesel. Man, you asked too many questions. I got the shit from my people. Used to be 2 pipe of weed. Nigga was bammer and kill. 2 fingers holding the blunt. Other one hand on the wheel. I got that butt naked bitch. Yeah, you on camera for real. No, I'm not playing for real. Bitch wanna smoke for the thrill. Song like pass me the blunt. Nah, like slide me the joint. Wanna be the center of attention? Well, you better get to the point. Ain't no new connects on the dough. You don't blow, you gotta go. Slide like that smoke out the door. A niggas will roll you a roll. Fuck around dabbing a bitch. I'm talking no Migos and shit. 18 for the P of the shit. It's so dope you can pee on the shit. Ooh. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. Hey, roll up the dope. I smoke up the dope. I smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. I got the dope. And you got the dope.
You got the dope.
Roll up the dope. Smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope.
I got the dope. I got the dope. And it's for low. She wanna smoke. I be on choke. Presidential all my style way. Seen the clouds from a mile away. I be on it like every day. D-way with the fadeaway. Game time. Dogging bitches cause they ain't mine. We was fucking at the same time. Man, I seen it coming. Should've seen her coming. I just stay up a bitch, stay in line. I get the money, no bluff. Pocket stuff and I ain't blocking nothing. It's the top of nothing. What you thought I was done on my whole city? Bring my block nuts, bitch, you crazy. You gotta go. Hey, bitch, I'm the pope. All white cause I'm dope. And no, you can't smoke. In the corners counting hundreds, right? Dope, got a nigga loving life. Flashy things, cut my money right. Get a backwood, they ain't burning right. I got the world in the tenant. I own that, they ain't renting. We blowing on bats, never pinning. A Popeye with the spinach. Blowing Mary, but it's berry. Got it in my bag, you ain't gotta worry. Nigga, I been gassing, you can ask Carrie. We just burn crepes with the fat cherry. Yeah.
I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. Hey, roll up the dope. I smoke up the dope. I smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. I got the dope. And you got the dope. Roll up the dope. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope. I smoke on the dope.
Smoke on the dope. Smoke on the dope. Yeah.
We're back.
Yep. Keeping it classy here on the MAWPCAST 1 radio program. It's a little ditty by Don James. All the Dope. Featuring Chris Crazy and Mac Driss. We also heard Bulldog by I Defy. Lazy by Black Smoker. And I'm a God by Sin Circus.
Indeed.
Yeah. That was an outstanding set of rock and roll music and other things. A variety of rockin' tunes. Setting the tone for you on this fine summer day, whatever day it is you're listening to this, unless you're listening to this in 3 or 4 months when it's fall or winter, and then whatever. But right now it's summertime. We're not going to be worried about when you're listening to this because we're making this in the summertime, the heat of summer. But we're indoors today, not on location because we did it on location last week and we're tired old men. This week we're doing it here back in the studio. It's one of those moments in the show. We're in segment 3. This is going into segment 3.
Segment 3.
Yep, one of those segments where I wish I wrote some notes, things to talk about.
I know.
Never do.
We always try to do that. We always say we're going to do that. And I actually, yesterday I was talking to Ash and I was like saying that I was trying to come up with some stuff to talk about and stuff. She goes, "Oh, you guys just wing it like you always do." I was like, yeah, no, well, but no, I don't want to wing it like I always do all the time.
Yeah, we're trying to, step up our game, be professionals. We come here every week. We want to bring you something to the table. Sometimes, I mean, I guess there's something to the spontaneity of it. It's like performance art. There's some performance art is just some jackass shit. You ever seen some performance art?
Yeah.
It's like You can't get away with that in real life. But if you say, oh, no, it's performance art, it's like, oh, okay. He's an artist.
Yeah.
Let him do that then.
We did see another cool movie, the new Hellboy.
Oh, yeah?
No, it was pretty. I liked it. It was totally, I mean, if you watch it and you've seen all the other Hellboys, kind of ignore the other Hellboys. Because it's kind of the same. They kind of show you stuff that's kind of like portrays the beginning of it, but it's slightly different. But it's just so much more to it. I mean, to me, the graphics are better. It's more darker. Definitely more gore. There is a little bit more blood and guts and stuff, but I don't think it's overdone. I think if you've seen the other ones, you'll automatically think, oh, that's too much. But if you've seen any other gore movie or whatever, it's mild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was cool. I mean, some of the monsters that they were fighting, fucking badass. It was awesome.
Generally, I'm not too into a movie with a lot of gore, and I will not pay a lot of attention to some things. Like I saw the Wolverine movie, whatever that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Oh, there goes the camera.
Yeah. It's a little much. Go, stay or go.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that one was a little much, but at the same time, it's a good enough story.
And it's still mild comparative to some of the other ones that are out there.
Yeah, I'm not.
I mean, like Hellraiser or something like that. It's not even close to anything like that stuff. So that's why I actually kind of enjoyed it and stuff. And I bought Alita Battle Angel too, but I'm gonna watch that today sometime.
No, you've seen that before, right?
Yeah, I've seen that. That was a really good one. I guess it's based off a video game. Am I wrong?
I think manga maybe or comic
anime or something. Like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I love that. That was a good one. Of course, I enjoy stuff like that: fantasy, action, space, robots, whatever.
I saw on the Amazon that Valerian, Thousand Worlds, whatever.
That one, yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah,
I think I actually bought that. I'm not mistaken. I think I bought that.
Well, you were giving me the reaction like you were going to say something bad about it, which would be uncharacteristic for you.
No. There was another movie that I think just came out. I think it's on Netflix or something. But it has the girl from the 70s show. Hyde's girlfriend. And the other dude's girlfriend, the little short Hispanic girl.
Mm-hmm.
Her, she's like a main actor in this movie. But it's like 3 hours long, and it's a science fiction, but it's 3 hours long, and it's just like too long. And I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but it's just and I for a split second there I thought that's what that one was, but it wasn't. That's a totally different one.
Well, it seems like you could digest it in increments. You could just watch it, make episodes out of it.
Yeah, you probably could, but it's just more of a drama than a actual action science fiction. I mean, it was so drug out that I lost interest, but I just kind of just stayed because I didn't want to walk out in the middle of a movie.
I understand.
Yeah.
There's been very few movies I've ever walked out of, I can recall. I know that one specifically that always just stood out in my mind was Days of Thunder. I walked out of that. I was with Ryan Anderson. This was it was probably 30 years ago. It was probably when that movie came out was 30 years ago. It could have been, like in this exact time frame because 30 years ago I was in a band called Daisy with Stuart Linkert and Ryan Anderson and Chad Baker, and we were based out of Puyallup. Dave Takata was a peripheral member also. He would play cowbells and bongos and stuff like that. Harmonica a little bit. And so we all went as a band to go and see Days of Thunder. And this was, I believe, Stuart's suggestion. And now, to be fair, I had been a fan of Tom Cruise up to this point. Like, growing up, I was a fan of Risky Business. Sort of okay with Legend. And didn't never get as into Legend as some people, but, it was all right. Top Gun, dude. That was a great movie, for the time and the era and my age. It was great. Cocktail. Let's be realistic. Cocktail really appealed to me as a kid. Like, Cocktail sent me on to a life of partying because I was like, oh, partying can be socially acceptable. You can make a living off of this. You can be a fucking fancy bartender. I can flip bottles. And when you met me, I had a bunch of bottles because I used to practice that shit, dude. Now, I was never good at juggling and I couldn't do anything too fancy. And I was never good at mixing drinks. I would always overmix and make them too horribly strong. But I just had a fancy idea that I would one day be a bartender. And it was based off of Cocktail. So there was even a time where I would say that Tom Cruise was influential on me. And then I got way into punk rock and I was just like, so, less of an interest. But then so you flash forward to like a short 2 years later maybe, and we're in this theater watching Days of Thunder, and I'm appalled. I'm like, what the fuck are we watching? Why is this on? Why am I here? This sucks. This sucks. Ryan and I both were like, fuck this. This fucking sucks. Dude, let's go. Let's get out of here. We left and we went and we snuck into Back to the Future 3. And we finished out the rest of the night there in Back to the Future 3. And we walked out of there and we were like, you know what? That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all. It's like seeing the second half of Back to the Future 3 was better than seeing any of Days of Thunder. And I never looked back on Tom Cruise, ever. The only real performances I've seen him in since then that I can, well, I take that back. Rain Man. He was great in Rain Man. He was. So I did see him again later on. That was a good movie. And but then later on in life, the Tropic Thunder, his role in Tropic Thunder, he was great in that as the sleazy producer.
He was funny.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then actually before that,
the way he danced was just freaking hilarious.
yeah,
I
man,
was just loving
it's
that.
like it's like finally like he's just let his guard down a little bit, and he's like, okay, I can play.
No.
It's like, okay, fine, that's better. And then also on the same token though, when he was in the Austin Powers movie, like as Austin Powers, at the end of like maybe I think it was maybe Austin Powers 3, because in Austin Powers 3, Goldmember, which is a horrible movie, I don't care what anyone says, there's while as bad as that movie is, it's got two of the best parts of any Austin Powers movies. I don't remember what the first one is, but the second one is that bit at the end where Tom Cruise and Kevin Spacey play Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. Like, so at the end of the movie, Austin Powers is in the theater watching a movie of Austin Powers, and Tom Cruise is playing him and
Kevin Spacey
is playing Dr. Evil, and he's so good. They're both so good. But yeah, the all in all, so I've not seen any of these Mission Impossible movies. They're probably great. They're probably really good. And he's probably got some other things that are okay too. But it's just, you know, he's the epitome of like Hollywood douchery, you know?
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with any of his movies. And I could find some entertainment value in them. Because I often can. Like you mentioned something about seeing a movie that you wouldn't necessarily watch. And doing that's great. Like, I'm just not going to sit down and plug through tons and tons of stuff left and right until I find the thing that appeals to me. And see, I'm at a point where I want to read a book. I would love to read a book. But I'm finding the same difficulty of where to start. What do I want to read? Because I've always been really picky with books too. I'm selective about my fiction or nonfiction, and often, so certain things were very like definitive for like science fiction or fantasy, like Tolkien for fantasy and Star Wars for science fiction, for instance. Now there's some other things that I've got into also, but a lot of things are derivative of those or pale in comparison to. It's not that I can't find enjoyment in some. For instance, there's some fantasy that I like that is not Star Wars, or that is not Tolkien. Like Ursula Le Guin has some great fantasy stuff. It's not as good, but it's interesting and cool. Her Earthsea trilogy is more than a trilogy now. I've not expanded on that. Maybe those are some books I'll check out sometime, now that I'm thinking about it. Like in science fiction, I like some other science fiction other than Star Wars, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or
that's great stuff.
Yeah,
Monty Python.
Yeah. What is that other thing that John DeChancy wrote those Paradox Alley trilogy that I like a lot. He generally writes some fantasy that I'm not as into. I'm not as into his fantasy stuff, and there's some other stuff that I've not got as into, like Piers Anthony or some of those things, but they've got some neat stuff, and they've got just a treasure trove of books I could just delve into, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I have a plethora of Star Wars books that I've been slowly reading a little bit here and there and stuff. Mostly I read when I'm camping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually doing one thing or another other than that.
So these are older Star Wars books? I think we've touched on this before.
Yeah, I've got a couple of the newer ones, which are cool. You know, and I've just read a little bit of the beginnings just to see if I'd be able to get pulled into and stuff, and it did. You know.
Yeah.
so they're pretty cool. Some of the newer characters are pretty enticing and stuff. So
that podcast that I listened to, the Jedi Council on the Collider Network, they will delve into everything that's released from Star Wars, basically. So they'll cover the comics. They'll talk a little bit about the different comics that are currently running and the plot lines that are going through. They'll dissect the books a little bit as they come out, and they're pretty frank about things. You know, what they are more into than others. You know, because some Star Wars stuff is geared more for kids than adults, and some stuff is geared for adults specifically. And then among that, there's different appeal, you know, depending on the person or the author or whatever the subject matter is. So some of these expanded universe stuff that is coming out is getting good attention and good reviews, but like there's a disparity between the stuff that's written in comic and book form and games, video games, and then the stuff that's in the canon films. Like, there's not a lot of crossover necessarily. There are there's some of these stories that are like specific, like Princess Leia stories or Luke stories or stuff like that are taking place and filling in the gaps in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So there is a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's not really what I mean. But there's some stuff like that is just kind of unto itself and not being integrated right, I feel like. And I guess, you know what? Who am I to say? Because I'm not really digesting that stuff. I'm not that into it. Oh. I love Star Wars immensely, but it like so much stuff, like there's a certain point where they're oversaturating it for me. Like I can't follow everything. Yeah. And
that's why I stopped buying a lot of the because I'm a Star Wars junkie and I buy, you know, the action figures, the toys, some of the weird stuff, and it got to the point where they were putting out so much stuff, and some of it's just garbage. Yeah, it's just junk. You can tell it's just slapped together crap and stuff. So I've just cut back and. You know, if it's something that's unique, something that's totally different that I've never seen, then I might think about it. But other than that, and then 90% of the time I buy them when they're like at thrift stores and stuff like that. You know, I won't buy them brand new and stuff.
I recommend almost all media secondhand. There's some times in life where I can think, okay, but I've bought things new before, and so often feel like I've wasted money, so much money. It's like, oh yeah. So I try to not ever get into it needs to be brand new thing. Some things aren't going to be like a DVD that's hit and miss because they can have blemishes you just can't just see at a glance sometimes, and they can just be worn out in ways without having a scratch. Yep. So. That I'm a little more forgiving with a CD buying it used because all it has to do for me is play once so that I can get it burned.
Yeah, exactly.
And once I've ripped it, I'm like okay with it, like not being. It can just be the physical thing that it is and represent that. And again, even that to me, this is just like a coffee cup. I want the coffee. I don't want the cup. Yeah. I don't care about the package. I don't care about now. There's information contained in these things that I do like and want, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. It's just you know I can't accommodate everything in life, and there's a lot of life to live and a lot of things to do. So, and dude, I've had so many things, so many physical copies of different things. You know how many copies of Led Zeppelin physical graffiti I've had in my life? Fuck, I've had it on vinyl. I've had it on cassette. I've had the fucking thing on 8-track and CD. I've had enough copies of it, and I've got it on digital. And you know which copies lasted the longest?
Vinyl?
No, my digital copy. No, fucking Jason Hoyt stole my fucking vinyl, and someone else stole another copy of my vinyl, and then the girlfriend ended up with a third copy of my vinyl. Fuck that, man. No.
I guess you got a point there.
It's a good record. It's one of my favorites.
I have it.
I like Led Zeppelin better than the Scorpions, if I'm being completely honest there, but they're not really in the same vein. Led Zeppelin is a band that is in the echelon of like the Who and the Beatles and ABBA and just great all-time groups. Sabbath is close, but not quite. Really, you know, their impact and influence on rock and roll is immeasurable. Black Sabbath's, of course, but they're not quite a Led Zeppelin. They're just shy of Led Zeppelin.
What's your opinion of Greta Van Fleet?
You know, I can't give an honest opinion of it because I don't know if I've ever heard any Greta Van Fleet. I know that they're a point of like controversy, and I love that.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
yeah. Well, my opinion of them, you know, and you'll have yours as well. There are a few songs that are blatantly very, very close to Led Zeppelin-ish.
Yeah,
songs, very, extremely very close. But if you listen to the rest of the stuff, it's kind of Led Zeppelin-esque, but it's new. It's a new vibe, but it's a familiar vibe, and I think that's what a lot of people are confused with.
Yeah.
Sure, it's Led Zeppelin-ish, but Led Zeppelin ripped off people. Everybody's ripped off people in forums and stuff. And they're a new band. They're finding their own, and they're fucking just good. You know, and even if there are Led Zeppelin-esque songs in it, if you listen to the songs, if the first thing that comes to your head is Led Zeppelin, that's a pretty good fucking thing.
Yeah.
I think. You know, because that's fucking shows that, oh yeah, they're badass.
Yep.
You know, and if it was Led Zeppelin doing those songs, they'd be fucking hits.
Yeah.
You know, and some of their songs are nothing like Led Zeppelin at all. But they're great.
Yeah.
And I think so some of other people's issues with him is his vocals. Some of his vocals, he's got that pretty screechy vocal with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But it's different, and it's different to the point where you can tell that he's going to find his own with it.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's going to figure it out, how to, you know, where to put it, how to
blow his
place
vocal
it.
cords out like I do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he could do that. But you could tell that in his other stuff that he's doing, that I think he's being either coached to kind of control that, or he's just finding it on his own and stuff.
At a certain point, this happens. Like a lot of times, you know, they will get people to rein them in and teach them stuff. But sometimes, I mean, there can be criticism against this. You know, it's like I remember Voivod, when Voivod released 2 or 3 records of their kind of noise music. There were this weird psychedelic noise metal, and they were far out and cool, and people liked them. And then they took some time off to learn how to play. And when they came back, they were different, and people were like, "Oh, no,
it's not edgy no more."
Yeah,
all the edginess was gone. It was too polished after that.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people felt. They were a better band. There was a certain artistic thing that was gone, and it is a true thing. And like I've always been aware of this, is that like the more proficient someone becomes, sometimes the soul goes away, and there's a fine line between that raw energy and that technical proficiency, and sometimes the person's technical proficiency is just kind of incidental, and they're just naturally talented. And I don't know, inevitably people get some influence and professionalism ground into them, and they lose a little bit of that edge. It's just their music's going to lose something. I don't know how else to describe it. Nonetheless, they can find new ways of, you know, who's a great example of this, because Bruce Springsteen. I'm not the biggest Springsteen fan, and I don't think he's had a lot of just to the moon hits, just outstanding hits, but some of them are amazing. Like Hungry Heart is an amazing fucking song. And there's a couple others in that era that are just incredible. Fire is one of those songs by him. I'm on Fire by him. Both those songs are fucking great. And then later on in his career, he did the song that I love a lot, Girls in Their Summer Clothes.
Oh, yes, that's a great song.
And it's just like, these are just transcendent. They're just like amazing. And they're like, they're not even coming from this guy. They're coming from somewhere else, out of this world. They're just like, wow. And I think that's what I'm talking about, whatever it was I was talking about. I know that we're in the third segment of our show. I don't know where else we are in terms of time from the time that we last played songs till right now at this second where I'm talking. I don't know if we should go to songs and come back and play our fourth segment of the show. I don't know what we should do, Chris.
Let me look at the...
Yeah, let's look at that. What does that say?
That says 146.
Oh, it's definitely time to go songs. Let's go to songs.
Yes. Time to go to songs and let Chris go pee.
You know what we're going to hear now?
What? The bathroom song?
Nope. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
We're going to hear Dead Set.
Dead Set?
Yep.
He actually got married this weekend.
Oh, congratulations, Dead Set.
These souls that light was spilled through the
I recalled your fall from grace, old friend. Where have you been, old friend? Where have you been? 'Cause this is not about our pride. I thought we were better when we were standing side to side. But you've chosen someone else, and you've left me by myself, old friend. Where have you been, old friend? Don't you remember when I was in love with you? I got over that fast, and I'll get over this too, old friend. 'Cause this is not about our pride. I thought we were better when we were standing side to side. But you've chosen someone else, and you've left me by myself, old friend. Where have you been, old friend? Don't worry your little heart, I'll be sure to forgive. But I'll just as soon restart and relearn how to live. Oh, 'cause this is not about our pride. I thought we were better when we were standing side to side. But you've chosen someone else, and you've left me by myself, old friend. Where have you been, old friend?
If I had a mind, it'd be someday free. But it's only mine and it's nothing to see. Stop all the beats that are bringing me down. Got a lot of time, but there's no good sound. Step, 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 step on me. Walk, 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 walk on me. If I had a mind, it'd be someday free. But it's only mine and it's nothing to see. Stop all the beats that are bringing me down. Got a lot of time, but there's no good sound. Step, 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 step on me. Walk, 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 walk on me. Carry me. 28 it on down. Oh, bring it on down. It's been done before. The results may vary, and I believe me, boy. Let's get it straight. Oh, we'll win the day. Oh, sounds old. Oh, so weak, so yeah. Yeah, for the record's sake. Yes, sir, we'll wear the tape. No, flash in the pan. We know retro
Give it that lived-in feel.
Yes.
We're back from yet another exciting set of songs and entering into our fourth and final segment of our show today. On that set of songs, we just heard No Retro by Basement, which was rad.
That was very cool.
We also heard the 2018, that song by the Rhetorics, 2018. Sorry. Old Friend by Levi Biha, and More Than Everything by Dead Set.
Yep. Congratulations on getting married.
Yep.
Yep.
Way to go, bro.
Yep.
And Mrs. Bro. Well, I don't know them. You know them. You got your finger on the pulse of the scene. You know when guys and bands get married.
But, you know, that's only because my, where I run sound at, the owner's, co-owner, Kate, catered it.
I see.
So, yeah, that's how I knew about it. So, yeah, pretty exciting.
I'm going to segue into a bad bit that's going to be even worse because the camera's not on.
No, I squeaked really bad.
It didn't squeak that bad. It wasn't that bad, Chris.
Okay.
You're making this mountains out of molehills. It was just a little squeak.
I am. All right. And it stopped. It didn't do it again. Okay,
so the other day I'm cleaning out my my RV in there, and I've got a closet, and in the closet there's a hanger, and on the hanger is a suit. Got the whole suit. Got the suit jacket and the suit pants and the vest. It's all in there. It's like they're way too big for me. Like I there's a secret about me. I always have a suit somewhere tucked away. It's always too big for me. I usually give it to Dave Takata, and he usually wrestles in it. So that's the history of me in suits. And so, but this one in my closet, Dave's not wrestled for a while, so it's just sat there. Yeah. And in this closet, I was also keeping other stuff that was not clothes, because that was the only garment that was in there was that suit. It was just tucked in there because I've got a rod, this coat hanger. Started using that for miscellaneous stuff, including food. And it was dark, so I would occasionally put a potato in there. And then as it so happened, one time I was moving some stuff around in there, looking in the dark, and I was like, I need to move the potato around, so I put a potato in the pocket of this coat. The side pocket right here. So flash forward to the other day, and
what's the potato look like?
I'm reaching in to like clean some stuff out of the cupboard. I start cleaning everything out, and then I go and I was like, and as I'm reaching into the cupboard, I feel there's something in that pocket, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so then I went to reach into the coat pocket, and I was like, it's like something was reaching out at me like fucking tentacles. And so Yeah, what happened was this potato was growing out of a pocket.
That's like a 1.5 foot of roots there.
Yeah, it's a good root structure for sure. It's a healthy potato. It wants to grow so bad. I was going to send it home with a friend, but then they didn't take it. So I was going to see if maybe you would take it.
I could take it home. We'll put it in the ground. I don't know how long. How long do they take to grow?
Well, you're going to find out, Chris. Have you ever grown a potato before?
I have never grown a potato.
I can instruct you. It's very easy.
Put it in the ground?
If you want to do it in the ground, you can do it in the ground. If you want to do it in a pot or something, the bigger the better. Like if it was about this big of a round pot, that'd be great. And all you have to do is set it at the bottom of that pot. Maybe sprinkle a tiny bit of dirt at the bottom. Then set that potato in and then cover that potato with dirt. And so I would put most of the roots under the ground, under the dirt, but maybe like there's a nub of root coming up. I would kind of stick that up like it's coming out because that'll turn into your plant.
Oh, okay.
And as it starts to grow, and it'll grow in just days of putting this in the dirt, then you put some more dirt over it and just keep adding dirt. So if it's in a bucket, you want it to be in a deep bucket, and if it's in the ground,
I don't have to worry about it.
Well, if it's in the ground, you want to dig a hole first and stick it in, and so that it has time to grow up. Because as it's growing up, it'll start branching roots out. And the more you put dirt up, the more roots will grow out, and the more potatoes that it'll develop. And it's only going to develop potatoes that are in the ground under that space. It's not going to go too far out and explore. Those roots aren't going to delve too far out, especially if the ground's hard and it's late in the year. So you want to give it as much birth as possible, loose soil to work with, and I'm not trying to make a lot of work for you. It'll be very minimal work.
I'll have my mom do it. Yeah, so it'll be really, really minimal.
It'll be even more minimal, and she'll enjoy it actually, and it'll grow. It'll grow potatoes, and you guys will have potatoes from it. Like it's, being this latent, it's going to not produce that much, if at all. It'll probably produce some, it'll probably bloom. It'll probably produce some potatoes. They might not be that big depending on, because again, we're way late, but let it go until October, November, you probably get some potatoes out of it.
All right.
Yep. It would have been way better with the camera on, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's all right.
And it ate up a good chunk of this segment of the show. That's great, too. It's all great. Just love the way that the show flows, just organically, like a potato growing out of a pocket of a coat in a closet.
Yep. And then into a box, and then into the ground.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Last joint, the final countdown.
Yep. Well, it's my halfer.
Oh.
Yep. I ground up a bunch, and then I ran out. I just had a little bit left, but I had still had papers left. Oh yeah, that's one of the blunt thingies that I roll and stuff. Those I actually prefer because those burn evenly longer.
Yeah.
These a lot of times I have to relight over and over and over. But that's all right. That's quite all right. So what do you got going on this week?
That's kind of up in the air. Of course, I've got to edit the show. And tentative plans that are in limbo. And things that I would do otherwise, like laundry and go pick blueberries. And those are specific things that I might want to do. So those are things that I have on the back burner if other things don't go quite the way that I want. And so I don't know what my exact plans are. Why? What else is happening?
Oh,
I was going to be busy was it last Friday or whenever it was? When was the Thursday? When was Ashley doing trivia at the
Thursdays?
Yeah, at your place.
Yep.
I was going to go. Well, then what was Friday? What happened? What was going on there at Friday?
We had a show of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, the trivia was on Friday.
It was. That's what I thought.
Because we didn't have anything else going on.
Okay. I was.
Yeah. But we're going to be doing it on
Thursdays. Yes. Okay. That's what I thought. So I was going to be parking, but then the KUBE Summer Jam got canceled. And I didn't even realize that A, it got canceled, and B, I could go somewhere after that. I was like, oh, I could go. But I didn't think of it happening until I was like, I didn't put two and two together.
Until it's too late.
Yeah. And this happens a lot. Or even there's times where I like have time to do something after something like that. And I was like, oh, I could go right up there to that bar. There's that Valley. The Valley has great shows all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Like, depending on what your style and taste is, it's been a reliable venue. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And your club is a reliable venue too. It's on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, it's further away. It's harder for you to get to now, especially with the way the.
Oh my god! Because I would just walk right down the street if I could get there.
Yeah. Well, they're almost done. They got the majority of it done. I think there's just the final details of it and stuff. Probably the actual laying of the pavement part and the stripes and all that bullshit, and maybe some entry and exits. But yeah. All right. I know that me and Ashley would like to try to do a camping episode.
Yep. Just let me know. Should be able to make it work. There are some dates on my calendar that are earmarked for things, and
this will most likely be like a Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, that's the best actually. There are almost no days that are earmarked for anything like that for me. That's great.
Because those are my best days too, Sunday, Monday. Well, if we were going to do that.
All right.
I had to jumpstart my van for the first time.
Today?
No, this is the other day. It's kind of funny, and I'm kind of dumb. But me and Justin were out in the van right before a show, and it was a show that was just a show that was kind of obscure. And I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know if it was the Black Sabbath one, but something kind of threw me off and stuff. But I left my keys in the van in the ignition, in the on position, with the radio playing.
Bummer.
With my window down.
Oh, wow. It's a series of stone things to do, Chris.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was I ran the show, and then I was just like, oh, okay, all right, time to go. And I was trying to find my keys. I was like, oh, fuck, where are my keys at? And then I go out to my van, I'm just thinking, oh, fuck, did I lock them in my van? Fuck. I walk out to my van, and I go to the passenger side, and I look through, and I'm going, oh, fuck, they're in the ignition. Shit, they're locked in. Oh, fuck, what am I going to do? And I check the doors, and then I look over, and I notice the windows down right there, and I'm just like, okay, the window's down. All right, cool. So I walk around, and I grab the keys, and when I grab the keys, I realize that I can't just pull them out. I'm realizing that they're actually in the full position, not the running position, but the idling position or whatever, and no lights were on at all. And I was just like, oh. And I tried to start it, and the engine light just barely came on, and I was like, son of a bitch. So I had to get a jump start. It was the first time I've ever had to get a jump. First time I've ever done that. So yeah, so needless to say, I won't be doing that.
Was the drive home enough to get it charged?
Oh yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Good deal.
So yeah, I don't know why I did that. That was just like a little boneheaded thing. Every once in a while. But I think it was just because I was thinking, all right, it's Black Sabbath, it's Judas Priest, easy night, gonna get, smoke a little bit, have a good night and stuff, and then I do a bonehead thing and be stupid.
Well, I mean, what you're saying, like, there's a lot about that does make sense right off the bat. Is like a band like that you kind of know the sound they're going for instantly, and it's stuff that is very appealing tonally to you. You love Sabbath and Priest, so yeah, I get it.
Yep. So I was just like, all right, I can do this, easy stuff. But turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought, but that happens sometimes. I mean, it's just like what I tell everybody, it's it's not Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
It's not all pre-recorded and everybody's faking it and stuff. There's real stuff going on. Every little element works. And if one little element is slightly off and, big deal. But if you got like 5 or 6 little elements that are slightly off, then, that usually creates a bigger problem and stuff. And then, it could be with anything, but I mean, with music, it kind of can cluster fuck shit up.
Mm-hmm. I'm only half listening to you because I've got a fantasy in my head of you and Ashley dressing up as Milli Vanilli for Halloween. Although one of them killed himself and it's sad. So
we can't. That would be bad.
Yeah. So the lesson is don't kill yourself, kids. Life's worth living.
Yes,
you can be a lip syncer and just be fine. It's fine. You're fine with your little lip syncing. Yep. Everything's fine.
Yep.
Well,
I look at it this way. If you're dead, it's definitely not going to get better.
It's just going to be the same.
Well, it's not going to be anything.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But if you're alive, at least you got a chance to make it better.
It's something, but then you'll just instantly realize, oh, that was a mistake. Damn.
Wow.
Then that's it's.
But then it's too late. So yeah. And then the only people that feel the pain then are the people that you left behind. So you really didn't take away the pain; you just spread it to other people.
Yep.
All right, that was a dark moment. Let's get.
Plus, my headphones came unplugged. I will. I'll edit all the doom and gloom out of the show. Yeah. It's nothing but smiles and happy time.
Yes.
And candy canes and dandelions here.
Yes, and glitter. Lots of glitter and rainbows.
Well,
bigger pieces of glitter, they're easier to vacuum up.
Well, I wouldn't want to sound like we're being dismissive of something that is an issue. People do we're living in a time where people are bummed, just bummed. So people who might not be used to dealing with depression are now dealing with it because they're like, "Wow, what the fuck is this? I don't understand." I thought of something just earlier about not having a perspective on something until you're faced with it, and not knowing what you're dealing with when you're faced with it because you don't have a perspective on it. And this is the thing, and there's people that don't take this for they take that for granted, or they don't calculate that in. So I just know a lot of people who suffer from things like depression and manic depression, bipolar disorder, things like this. Like it's not uncommon, and for people dealing with those people, it's overwhelming. It's like it's easy to just say, "Fuck that person. That person's being an asshole to me. Fuck that person." Because that's when it's just brought down to its essence. That's what it is. That person's just being an asshole to you, and it's not fair. And it's fucked up. Fuck that person. And it's hard to explain that away or justify it because they're depressed. Or sad, or whatever, and there's a lot of complicated shit there. Like sometimes a person is like suffers from these complicated issues, and so something like a perceived rejection is setting them off. they're like, they feel very hurt. And like a bipolar, for instance, they want you to hurt. Like they hurt. Like that's something they're trying to do to you. Like, and so it's hard to separate your emotions from the motivations of a person who's suffering from a psychotic episode. And it's easy to just dismiss them and attack them back, which then only escalates the thing. And it only makes it a worse thing for everyone, and everyone walks away more hurt. And it becomes even harder to forgive a person who's then gone through something like that. This is a great conversation that we're having at the tail end of our show, and I was able to articulate some thoughts really well. It's too bad that no one will ever hear it, but
chop, 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 chop.
I could put it up there at the beginning, and it's like, but then that could be construed as something else. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it in its organic state. Leave everything is. I'm not going to chop anything out. You're going to hear it in all of its warts and all. It's all this there for you. And for everyone out there, something else that should have been at the beginning of the show is you should be like liking our pages and sharing our music and liking the bands, going the links in the descriptions down below. Go all the way in these descriptions of whether you're listening to the podcast, you're watching the video, throughout every single episode, go through every episode and
find these bands, listen to these bands, find other bands and tell us about these bands.
Yep. Every one of these bands got members that have been in other bands, and we don't know about every one of these bands. Some of these bands, they've never done anything. They're just playing in their garage, but they recorded an album once. Some of them are that we've heard of them and forgot, because Jesus Christ, there's 1,000 fucking bands. There's so many bands. There's just billions and billions of them, billions and jillions and zillions, and we've only got 2 hours and 45 minutes in a day once a week to play you these songs, and that is pushing the envelope. That's actually, we're maxing out. We're in a month right now where there's 5 weeks in this month, and I'm going to have to try and squeeze.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, and I've already fucked up. I've already made too long of an episode last week, and I had an opportunity for an out to make it a shorter episode, but I still couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. No, it's going to be fucking just as long as all the other episodes. So, fuck. Couldn't have looked at a calendar first. I can't plan this shit ahead. I looked ahead 2 months ago and knew that this month was coming, but then I was like, oh no, fuck it. Who cares?
You can make this one shorter.
I could, but then what's the point? What's the point of doing this if it's just going to be shorter? It's like I feel like I'm cheating the bands. It's like
no. We won't be cheating the bands of what their stuff is. We'll just chop some of their stuff out.
Well, there is that. I could chop us out, but then the conversations don't make sense, because our conversations, even if they're stupid, they just flow like this.
Well, you'll figure that out in editing.
I'm a bad editor. I'm bad at all this stuff.
All right. Well,
someone else should be doing this.
All right.
That's another call to action. That's what it's called. A call to action on the YouTube or on the social media. They'll say, "What's your call to action?" Facebook, they'll say, you need to give a call to action to your fan base so they'll go and do things for you, because you want your fans to do things for you and to support you and all these things. It's like, well, I do, but I kind of just want them to do that on their own. Like, I don't want to be bossy.
You don't want them to be lazy. You want them to be active and do stuff.
Engaging. Why aren't your fans engaging you more? What are you doing wrong that your fans aren't engaging you? You're done. You're taking your shit down.
No, I'm still talking.
No, we can go. You guys sing Neil Diamond?
Well, nobody could see what I was doing, so.
You had that look on your eye like you were going to sing Coming to America.
I don't have the words up or anything like that. I'll probably be doing it.
On the ship and on the planes.
They're coming to America.
All right. That's a great way to lead the show.
Never looking back again.
Yep.
They're coming to America.
Okay, folks.
They're coming to America.
And on that, we will leave you with
They're coming to America.
fantastic songs. That's good. I can take that as a sound clip.
They're coming to America today.
The feelings that I hope were already gone. riding up on your shoulders. Sometimes it feels like that we can't depend on each other. Look around, we all go through it. No different from one another. What I need, I can't become. What we need, we can't become. Time to depend on ourselves. Most of the time we go through life feeling alienated. Head held down on our phones, afraid to reach out. Don't give up, it's a constant struggle, it's never ending. We gotta realize it's up to us and how we move safely. Think it's time that we took a step back, stop focusing on all the shit that we lack. Do what we can to rise above. Think it's time that we said to ourselves, time to depend on ourselves. What? It's not really that hard. Just reach out to the person next to you. Give him a hug, ask him what's up. Sometimes it feels like that we can't depend on each other. Look around, we all go through it. No different from one another. What I need, I can't become. What we need, we can't become. Time to depend on ourselves. Interesting without the world's whirlwinds, obeying signs without the practice of sin. If the mind is lonely, could it reach further on? See past the traffic lights at dawn, cross ready to spin. What would it mean? I'd have to say, if it's a love I recall my own. Spears are sharper than the nail in the dark. So what I would do just to steal away from you, to crack that chain up on my head and laugh in a fortune's yell. What would it mean? I'd have to say, I'll fish for thorns and smoke my mind out the door, spreading credence among the halls. If birds get lost, could their wings fall off? I watch them pick up all those feathers that I swore I once knew of. What would it mean? I'd have to say, if it's a love that I could call my own. In Carvey Park and paste it to my soul. What I would do just to kill away from you, to grab that chain up on my head and laugh in a fortune's hell. If it's enough, want me to speak far from the twisted south, the stormy cloud, where things like these are avenues and it's a chosen choice to sing the blues, but it's not okay. I swear it's just the distance from me to you. In spite of it all, the whistles were clowns and toads. Speaking of ways to embrace, they were cows. You'll find your own gold in the river telling jokes. You'll find your without a nail, without a wing, and without a soul. And what would it mean, I'd have to say, if it's a love that I could call my own? I'd ride the horse that has been tattooed to my soul. Oh, what I would do just to stray away from you and crack that chain upon my head and laugh in a fortune's yell. What would it mean, I'd have to say?
Hanging out
wrapped up like and if you will shatter one more step and I take a card, cast the dice. shame, man, we're not can save all the crumb. to you. A little changes in my brain, a little dying that won't change, a little lie but I'm sane, won't it go away? I'll change whenever I can, 'cause only I can understand. I just can't believe that I'm here again. We all go down beyond this phase, whenever I worth all this hell we taste. Who am I to throw this stone? I've always said I'd go back home, yeah. What will you say? Tell me, where will the shame remain when I can save all that crumbles? But we're on a war, on our way on down, on our way on down, down. Lines we live, are you out there alone?